Okay, so I'm going to start here. So thank you for the interview. Can you please give us an introduction and tell us a little something about yourself?
Sure. My name is Xanthe Huynh. I've been in anime such as Cells at Work, Makia, Kageki Shoujo, Tokyo 24th Ward, and video games such as 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim, Persona 5, Fire Emblem Three Houses, and a couple other stuff.
So I heard that you mentioned something about like Fire Emblem Three Houses. Do you have a lot of people asking you questions at this convention? Because I know that you were saying during your Q&A that a lot of people were playing Fire Emblem during the quarantine and everything. So
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so wonderful to hear everybody's like stories and like their relationship with the games. Because, you know, when I'm as like a small part of it, you know, like as a voice actor, it's kind of nice to hear feedback and see what people are really resonating with. And I'm really happy that Fire Emblem was one of them. There's so many characters that, you know, that everybody can like really latch on to, and I'm really happy that Marianne is one of them, just because of her story arc, because she is one of those types that are super duper introverted, and I definitely relate with that. And it's always nice to like see those kind of interactions with characters that try to bring that person out of their shell so they're more comfortable. And I really love that, and I'm glad that people like that so much, and like that aspect of the game.
Yeah, she's really cute in the game. I love that game.
Thank
Three Houses.
you.
Oh my gosh, I played so much when I first got it. Okay, and how is it that you got into voice acting?
So I had started in theater. Like I did a little bit of it in middle school and high school, and I got my degree in drama. And for voice acting specifically, I was speaking to a friend of mine about like, oh, it'd be really cool if I could merge my two interests, so like my love for anime and for acting into like into one thing, which is voice acting. But I had no idea how to get into it. And she actually told me that there was a voice acting competition at Anime Expo.
Oh wow!
Called AX Idol. And that the person that had won before got to be in like stuff, so I was like, oh, that'd be really cool to check out. I didn't really think that it would get really that I would get very far, because like I figured, okay, I'll compete, get experience, and then get my game plan together for next year to compete, and you know really go for it. And but I actually made it as a finalist, which I wasn't expecting, and then from there. The studio liked me enough that they brought me in for a tour and for an audition, which was what the person that won got. So it's like I won, but like not in like the official capacity, I guess. Mm-hmm. And so that's how I got started. I didn't know anything about voiceover, but I had acting experience, and so I was able to kind of learn in the booth as we went. So I was very, very fortunate, very lucky. And since then, I have taken a lot of like classes and training to really like hone in on the craft.
Okay, and then what have been some of your favorite roles that you've taken on? I want to assume maybe Hanayo, because you're dressed up as her.
Absolutely, she is one of my favorites. She is my rice goddess. There's so many. I mean, I love being the platelet in Cells at Work, just because I
cute.
Love that show so much. Of course, Haru from Persona 5. She is one of my favorites, as is Marianne from Fire Emblem Three Houses. There's so many. I mean, I adore all of my characters. Miyoko from 13 Sentinels is also another favorite of mine. She's just, you know, positive and sweet and fun. Kageki Shoujo, it's like also another one of my favorites. She goes through so much, and she grows so much throughout the series. Lots of deep trauma that's buried there that she kind of like is able to kind of overcome over time with her relationships with other people. So yeah, those are some of them. I feel like every time I answer this question, it's like a different smattering of characters.
Because you remember something, you're like, oh yeah, what about this and what about that?
Yeah, I love them all.
Yeah, so I remember you saying like when you kind of voice act as a character and you watch them grow, how do you usually feel through that when you see like, you know, how it started out and how you really see them grow? Like, how do you feel about that?
Oh man, it's so satisfying kind of seeing like where they started and then like where things end up. There's especially like in Fire Emblem Three Houses, she has this support scene with Ignatz, and it's still like one of my favorites. And it's where he like takes her to go just look at the sunset, just like this very, you know, it's something that happens every day. You know, we take it for granted, and it's just a moment of quiet and peace and enjoying the scenery. And I remember when we recorded that, I was like, wow, that's the first time Marianne has felt comfortable and at peace with someone, and like it really struck a chord with me. But yeah, there's so many beautiful moments in that game, and like whenever that happens, I'm like, wow, it's really inspiring. Like maybe I should think about how I'm living my life, you know?
And how to grow as a person as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so did you ever find it hard to get into a character whose personality is very different from your own?
Definitely. I guess, you know, it always kind of depends on like casting, because like when I feel like when you're cast as a character, it's already something that is a strong suit or something that's like a part of you. For me, it's like in auditions, when I try to go for a type that I'm like, okay, this is kind of like in my voice range, but maybe the personality type is something that I'm not used to playing. Like if the character is like really energetic or something, that's can be a little bit harder for me, because like it gets very tiring because you're just like big and like out there. Or like characters that are I think for me it's like the big emotional switches. Like if, like say there's like a yandere type character, it's really hard to flip the switch and like be like over eager and like kind of sadistic in a way. So like characters like that, I find like when I'm like auditioning for them, it's a bit of a stretch, and it can be hard for me to like really get into them, which is probably why I don't play them very often or at all. But yeah, but I mean, it's always about the adventure and the fun in trying those out and like learning from them. So, and then maybe getting better and maybe someday playing them. We'll see.
I remember you just said something about like a big switch in the character. So when you're playing Hanayo, she's like, you know, timid and quiet, and suddenly when she starts talking about idols, she starts talking really fast and excited. Did you find that kind of hard to do, or were you just like kind of really prepped for it because you knew a lot about anime and everything?
Yeah, I did get to like kind of like watch through the series before I went in to record, so I kind of knew those were coming. But it was hard to make that switch, especially because she is like almost like mute in the beginning, like can barely put a word out there. You know, they're doing like announcements over the PA, and but then when she gets into like talking about idols, like something she's really passionate about, she like rants on. And so for those moments, I'm like, okay, you just have to take deep breaths and then like go for it, you know. Yeah, so sometimes those switches can be kind of difficult, but you know, the director is like very understanding and be like, okay, you just need to tweak this a little bit and you'll be right there.
Yeah, that's really helpful. Okay, and then is there any particular type of character that you prefer to voice?
I don't know if it's more of a preference, but it is something that I'm more comfortable with, and I like a lot of like I do enjoy the sweet shy characters, just because like I really relate with them, especially like the slightly like awkward ones. Like in Scarlet Nexus, I play a character called Sugumi, and she's also like fairly shy and reserved, and like she mainly talks to the main player character, and like, you know, like waters her plants and takes care of her plants and kind of keeps to herself. And she has like so many like these fun awkward conversations about like, oh, you're so stylish, like how do I become like that too? And it's like these really weird like segues into asking questions, and like I'm like, oh my god, I'm cringing so hard because I feel for her, but like it's so satisfying in a way too, because like when I was recording for that, I'm like, it was so awkward that I started like laughing after one of the lines, and I'm looking over, and through the glass, like the engineer and like the director are kind of laughing too, because it's so funny how awkward these situations get. So I don't know if that answered the question.
No, but yeah, you say you like the awkward, cute, like type of voices.
Yeah, I adore them.
Your voice sounds perfect for those two. It's a
Thank
very
you.
cute voice. Okay, and then were there any characters that you had particularly difficulty with in the past?
Yeah, I mean, like, there's definitely, like, challenge roles. I know that you have, you may have already heard me talk about it earlier, but those of you listening haven't. For me, a character called Bebe in Madoka Magica Rebellion, the movie, just because there was, like, so many technical challenges with that character. Because it's the little witch, and she speaks in gibberish and cheese names, which is already like, okay, that's fine. But then, because of the nature of dubbing, we never get the script ahead of time, so there's no way for me to practice. And at the time, like, there was no way for me to watch the movie in Japanese to preview, so I didn't really know what was going on in the story. And also, like, the Madoka universe is kind of out there, lots going on anyway. And the script is written phonetically, so I had to get it all word perfect without ever having reading it before, so that was already really hard. And then trying to match the timing of the Japanese so that it matches, like, the mouth flap of the character, and then also keeping the emotion in there. I'm not just regurgitating words, I have to put this emotional context in there because she's saying things in this gibberish that the characters understand. I'm just like, my mind is just like
Overworked.
Yeah, I'm like fizzling out. So insecure. I was just like, oh my god, they're gonna recast me. This is horrible. I can't do this. It's so hard. It's so hard. But we did it. It was very satisfying when watching it when it came out. I was like, and I feel like fans don't even know that I voiced her, even because I voiced Nagisa, her, like, human form. But yeah, that was a real
I remember you
challenge.
saying that you got a lot of praise for it still as well, because, like, we couldn't even tell the difference between those two. That was really good to hear.
The director told me much later on that Hiroe from Aniplex had told him, like, she couldn't tell the difference between me and the original voice actress. So I was like, oh, that's, like, the highest form of praise. I'm like, I'm glad that she felt that I was able to really really play the character well.
Especially since it was, like, so stressful as well. Like, great praise to hear after all that stress.
Hopefully they didn't see me sweat in the other side of the booth, because I was like, I'm really trying my best here.
You did a great job, especially if you got such good praise from them.
Thank you.
And then the next question would be, are there any characters that you think you make a good fit for us? Someone, like, you haven't voiced before, but you're saying, like, oh, I would love to play this character.
I can't think of any new ones off the top of my head, but definitely for the longest time was Prince of Tennis. And that was, like, an old series that I never would have thought I would be a part of, just because it already kind of had a dub, and for like maybe half the season-ish, or like the first 50 episodes. But yeah, when, like, auditions came around, I was like, I have to read for this, please, please, please. And not just because, like, she has, like, the long braided hair, which I also have. I guess you can't tell now because I'm in cosplay, but I really related with her. She had, like, the show had a special place in my heart, and, like, that was something that it was like, I wish I could play, but I didn't think that would ever happen. And so, yeah, definitely that one. It's like a dream role that came true. So I'm very, very fortunate, very lucky. And, like, getting to work on it has been amazing because Howard Wang, the director, is also a huge, massive Prince of Tennis fan. So, like, we would have these geek out moments, like, in the booth and be like, oh my god, it's that song, we love this, oh my god. And he would tell me, like, how much fun he's having with, like, casting different actors, and we would talk about our favorite characters. And so I'm like, okay, we should get some work done because, like, we're just, like, geeking out right now. He's so passionate about it. And, like, I don't know, I think he's talked about it before, and a lot of people don't know, is the order in which we've been recording is really insane, because we started, I think, with, like, Prince of Tennis 2, and then, like, there was, like, another arc, and then we went back and we were starting from episode 50 and forward, and then we did the movie in the middle of that. So it's all out of order, and then we're hoping that we're going to go back and do the first 50 eventually. So we're starting at the end and kind of going back to the middle, and then eventually going back to the beginning, which is really hard because for a long-running series like this, there's lots of like returning characters, a lot of like inside jokes that repeat over and over again, and it's hard when you're starting in this order. And they're so fortunate that they have Howard working on this because he knows the show so well that he's like, oh, this joke right here is a reference to this thing way in the beginning, so I have to make sure that it's going to be consistent if somebody's watching it in order later on. So I don't know how he does it. I swear he's like that meme where it's like on the board where it's like, I got this down, like this is how it all like kind of works out. But yeah.
That's when it's been really fun to work with someone who's a big fan as well. It's probably really helpful. Okay. And then, are you a fan of any of the shows you've worked on? Something that you would like constantly want to watch over and over again?
Prince of Tennis is definitely one of them. It was already like a comfort anime that I watched a lot. So is Kuroko's Basketball. That was another one that got dubbed way after it had initially released, that I was also a fan of because Kuroko is bae. And so I'm really happy that I got to be in that because it's another show that doesn't have a lot of female characters.
True.
And like the character that I was cast as Momo, she gets to interact with my two favorite characters in that show. So definitely
a lot of fangirling.
Yes, constantly. She is a fangirl and I am a fangirl at heart. So
Matches up.
It was match made in heaven. So definitely those two. I mean, Sailor Moon as well. Like, I grew up with that, and to be able to like, it's crazy that they redubbed it because like everybody like loves the original series, including all of the cast. But it was so amazing to get to be a part of like my childhood.
Very magical, I would say.
Yeah, and then Pokemon as well. So it's crazy that the things that I grew up loving, I now get to be a part of, which I don't think many people get to do. So I'm very fortunate. I'm very happy.
That's good to hear. Okay, and then you've also done a lot of voice work for gaming. Are there any difference or difficulties you've encountered versus anime roles, like versus like gaming versus like anime or movies?
So it depends on the type of game that you're working on. A lot of JRPGs, like it has a similar sound to like anime, but like the pacing is much different because in anime you're constantly starting and stopping because after you record they have to like try to match it up to like the mouth flaps, make sure it all fits correctly. Versus gaming stuff that you just do your isolated lines and you don't have to worry about matching the flap unless it's a cutscene. So there's not like too many of those. And then some games that you have to just match the original timing of the Japanese, so that when they put it in, it all like works out. So I think I like that video games tend to be like a little bit more freedom in them. But then like some games like because of how quickly you go, I would personally need like a lot more breaks in between just because I'm like constantly talking. You can get kind of like tired, and also like just like reading, like your brain kind of like needs a moment to like reset. But yeah, and then also like if it's vocally stressful too. So if you're playing if you're voicing in a game that has a lot of like called out stuff, a lot of different ways to die, that's also something that you have to be mindful of so that you don't blow yourself out, especially early in the session, and then you can't work anymore for the rest of the day. So yeah, I guess that would be like the differences working on a game versus an anime.
Yeah, pacing and like everything's a little bit faster versus anime versus gaming. Okay, and then about games, are you a gamer also? Any like favorite games that you like playing, especially during COVID? Do you catch up on a lot of games?
So I would love to play more games, but like I don't make the time to for a lot of them, unfortunately. I did play through all of Persona 5, the very vanilla. I got through about, honestly, halfway I got to Futaba's arc in Royal. So I do still I'm trying to power and finish through that before I go into Strikers. I haven't touched that yet. For Emblem Three Houses, I've gotten like about 40 hours in. I still need to like trek through all of that too. It's just so many freaking students losing all their items everywhere that I'm just spending all this time
Like walking around trying to
Where
find
are
it.
you? Is this yours? Is this yours? Is that yours? So I'm still going through that. So whenever like fans tell me like, oh, I've played through all of the different routes, I'm like, that is amazing. I'm so terrible at this game. Show me your ways. I don't know how to finish because people keep losing their stuff.
You have to keep collecting all the events as well.
Yeah, so there's so much to do. So I feel like I tend to like start a lot of games just because I want to like see how they've turned out and like what they're like. I haven't gotten to finish a lot of them except Persona 5. I feel like that's the one JRPG that I've like played to completion. But yeah, I tend to play. I like playing DDR. I haven't in a while because like
You have
during
a DDR machine here.
Hey, maybe I should get back on that. I definitely gained a little during COVID, so DDR would be good for me.
Same.
I like kind of fell off track because during COVID, you would think that I would play more, but I live on the second story of an apartment, and I was like, oh, it wouldn't feel right to stomp on my neighbors underneath me if they're working
yes,
from home.
definitely.
So yeah.
It's a nice courtesy. I know some people would not care about that. It's like it's been a rough couple years for, voice actors and a lot of virtual. I did see like your past conventions online saying like what you've been to. You did a lot of virtual ones. How was that, having virtual like the conventions?
It's a different vibe, definitely. I mean, like, because, you're not in like a big panorama with a lot of people. Usually it's more one-on-one like this for those kind of virtual things, just because it's a lot easier because you're only talking to one other person. I think I was lucky at the very beginning of the pandemic. I had like a talk back already scheduled at my alma mater, UC Irvine.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and
you went to
like,
UC Irvine?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And so like I was scheduled to come talk to there in person, to the drama department and the video game department, and once the pandemic happened, they switched over to virtual, and I think because it was virtual, a lot more people were able to attend.
Ooh, that's good to
So that was really really cool. And then I got to bring my friend who is also an anime voice actor, Rico Fajardo. We went to UCI at the same time, and I got to bring him in to do like a demonstration. It was really cool.
Do you have any special skills or talents that your fans might not be aware of that you would like to share?
Oh. Not that I can think of. I wish I was more of a talented individual. But no, voice acting is all I've got.
It's okay. I just thought it was a funny question that I might be asked. And then, what are your recent and upcoming roles that you're excited for?
Ooh, so just announced is Ni no Kuni Crossworlds. So that's out now on mobile. And also, I think next month we have Monster Rise Sunbreak coming out. I'm really excited for that one. I think those are the ones that I can talk about right now. Got lots of things coming out soon, so yeah, I'm really excited. Oh, very recently also Vampire in the Garden out on Netflix, really great show, miniseries, so yes, please check that out as well.
Okay, that's good to hear. And then lastly, can you give us a closing message for your fans?
Thank you so much for, playing the games and like watching the anime that I've been in. It's always great to hear your feedback. I love seeing all the fan art. I get tagged in so much of it, and I absolutely love it. You guys are so talented and creative, and I'm really fortunate to like be able to have this kind of like bond with you guys. Thank you so much, and I'll keep trying to work hard and be more stuff. Thank you.